Hello, I'm Saul Brody from Philadelphia, PA, USA. You're tuned to the International Radio Report, 30 minutes of news about radio on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal.
Welcome, everybody, to the International Radio Report on CKUT 90.3 in Montreal. We have a bit of a special edition for you this week. We thank you for tuning in. We always appreciate you getting in on the radio or listening to us on YouTube or live streaming on CKUT. We are recording our show on Friday, and we are participating in the 37th annual NASWA Winter SWL Festival, which is taking place in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. And we thank Richard Cuff and John Filii, who are the organizers, for putting everything together. This is a different year than other years. We talked about it on the show in the past few weeks, that it is our first hybrid edition of the Winterfest. As I said, it's 37 years old, and for the past 37 years, people have been gathering a group of shortwave listeners, DXers, medium wave DXers, ham radio operators, anything to do with radio. We have a great time with it. This year, some of us live in person at the hotel, others joining us on Zoom. So we are doing this show from the event on Zoom, and we'll be talking to some of the participants as we move along. We should start off, though, very quickly. Gilles, you want to fill our listeners in on what's been happening today with respect to solar conditions. We always give the solar weather on the show each week, but this has been a bit of a special day.
Yep, as we were recording this on Friday evening, so a sunspot AR3664 has been very active. It's a sunspot that is as big as the sunspot that created the famous Carrington event of 1859. It has unleashed a series of M and X class flares, and we knew that something big was to happen. There would be some big geomagnetic storm or something. And the first of the CMEs hit Earth at 1645 UTC today, and immediately triggered a severe geomagnetic storm. As our recording is happening right now, we're still at a K-index of 8, which is almost maxed out. The K-index scale goes up to 9, and there are auroras visible everywhere, and possibly even here in Montreal, which is a rare event, later tonight. So this has also triggered a lot of news about, possibilities of power outages and all sorts of disruptions of internet and so on. So it's a major event. It's been 20 years since the last geomagnetic storm of this size, and we still don't have all the CMEs that have arrived yet. So this is going to be something that's going to last for several hours, if not a couple of days.
Yeah, we'll be able to sort of do a post-mortem of what happened, what the results were for our show next week. But in the meantime, we've been keeping a close eye on things and having so many radio fanatics here at Winterfest have been keeping track of all the different websites, all the information sources of solar activity and geomagnetic storms. So it's been a big event, and it's kind of timely almost that it happened on this weekend when so many of us are gathered together. It wasn't planned. It just happened that way. So anyways, we should get to talking to a few people, though. We have a group of people that are in person at the Winterfest Hotel, and a whole bunch of other people literally from around the world. We have people in all different parts of the United States and Canada, some people overseas, Portugal and the UK and a few other spots who've got together to enjoy radio, talk about radio. And we've had a whole schedule of the first day of forums taking place, dealing with ham radio, with pirate radio, with loop antennas, using test equipment and measurement equipment as receivers, a DXing on the road presentation by Don Moore, which just completed prior to us recording here. So everybody seems to be enjoying themselves. We got a whole other day of activities coming up tomorrow. So we thought we would talk to a couple people, have them introduce themselves and tell us what they've participated in today, and if you've been to the event in the past, and just some basic observations of what's been going on. So we've got a whole screen of people in front of us here, which you can't see on the radio, of course, but if you do watch our YouTube channel later on, you might be able to get some of this in front of you. So let's go around the table a little bit. We've had a lot of people checking into a hospitality suite, which we've been hosting here for the event. So we'll go to some people starting. Let's talk to Carl out in Minnesota. And Carl, a little bit about yourself and your impressions of the event so far.
Well, my name is Carl Davelstein. I live in the northwest Twin Cities suburb of Maple Grove, Minnesota. Amateur call sign K0SBV. I've been a radio hobbyist for more than 60 years, although relatively new to this gathering. I attended the first time last year and had such a great time with all of the fellowship and all of the technical presentations that I signed up again this year. It's been a lot of fun today, a lot of interest in the atmospheric and ionospheric conditions as a result of the solar activity. And I'm looking forward to over the weekend to see how that affects our radio reception. And hopefully it gives us opportunities to log some stations we might not otherwise hear.
Exactly. You never know how these conditions are going to affect what comes out of our radios. So it's an interesting time. It could potentially be a bit of an upsetting time for the planet. We're just kind of holding our breath, everyone here, to see just what the results are. But it was great to see you again this year, and glad you came back. Must have left a good impression last year to get you to come back this year. So we're happy to see you again. Let's see. We have a name that some of our shortwave listeners are going to remember from the past, and that is Rich McVicker. Many of you might remember that name from HCJB in Quito, Ecuador. Rich is with us this evening as well. Hi, Rich. How are you doing?
There we go. Hi, Sheldon. Thanks. I'm doing fine. I used to be with HCJB back in the early and mid 90s. I was a broadcaster for 27 years, and now live in the eastern Finger Lakes area, south of Syracuse, in the middle of New York. I've been a shortwave nut for since before I was 10. I also like trying to get distant stations on the television, and have been a ham operator as well for the past 44 years now.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of people remember you from the HCJB days, and you and so many other regular popular announcers that we heard on the station over the years. So it's great to have you with us here this evening, and I'm sure some of our listeners will be happy to hear your voice again over the radio. Gilles, your turn. Pick somebody.
Let's go to Tom Swisher.
Tom Swisher, just south of Columbus, Ohio. I've been a ham radio operator for 44 years and into radio longer than that. And really wish I was there at the fest in person, but I just couldn't swing it this year. Even though I retired last fall, and I have to say that retirement is everything I hoped it would be. It's nice to be able to get up in the morning and say, no, I don't really have to do that today. I'll just do whatever I want to do. So it's pretty nice, but monitor a little bit of everything, and scanning primarily, of course, but get the shortwave receivers fired up on a regular basis also, and like to see what's going on the bands.
You're a veteran of Winterfest. I know we've met. I don't even know how many times at Winterfest over the years.
Yes. Lost count. I can't remember how many times I've been to the fest, but I think I started coming to number 8 or 7, somewhere right around there. So it's been probably about 30 years.
Amazing. It's just amazing how time flies, and some of us, I think I've missed 2 or 3 over the years myself. And Gilles is kind of a newcomer to this. He hasn't been to an actual in-person fest yet, but he hopes to somewhere down the road. But we've been having fun doing the virtual hospitality suite here, and it's nice to meet so many different people from all over the place. So, Gilles, we have somebody with us from the UK, Michael Dawson. Maybe we should speak with Michael.
Hi there. Yeah, excuse me if I'm wilting a bit. It's nearly 3 o'clock in the morning here. It's been a big success, actually. I'm really pleased with the hybrid format. I've been able to watch all the presentations easily and see the people in the room for real. So I think it's gone absolutely brilliant. I really congratulate the organisers on solving all the problems with allowing people to access it from all around the world and enjoy it in person. Well, I'm a DXer since 1974, about 50 years this year. I've been a DXer. I'm a all bands monitor, a bit like Tom Swisher, and radio is my life basically. But now in recent years, in partnership with Jen, I've been getting into broadcasting, making radio programs. So,
well, we have to ask you to give yourself a plug for that, so you can tell our listeners where they can find both you and Jen.
Yeah, Unique Radio with Tim. We started off on a thing called iWeb Radio for a long time, but now we're on to a licensed station, which is Unique Radio in Australia, and we broadcast a program called Calling All Radio Nuts for six months in a year. It's a 3-hour live show. It's done virtually. I'm on Skype with Jen, and she broadcasts it from Florida or Colorado, depending on where she's living at the time. And we cover all kinds of, all aspects of radio, basically. We play recordings, and we're trying to build new features into it all the time. Any sort of ideas we get and topical things that come up, we will feature in the program. And the technical quality is being improved all the time. And it's getting now to be quite a good quality program, I think, because I'm actually editing it after broadcast, so that if there's any glitches, and there often are interruptions because Jen's looking after her mum at the same time, but we've got ways and means of getting around it. I've got music I can play on the fly if she has to go away for a little while. And well, we like the program. We think we enjoy making it, and we're achieving something, I think, and we thoroughly enjoy it. So I put a link in today. We've posted all of the last 6 programs, so people can download them and have a listen, try it out. And also, we'll be back in October, and it's all advertised through World of Radio and about 6 different other lists as well, actually. So
we'll definitely put up a link on our YouTube channel with when we post up the show there as well. So we'll definitely hope some of our listeners will give you guys a listen and appreciate the work that you're doing, putting the show together. Both of you, it's always fun to be on the other side of the radio. Gilles and I have been doing this show. Our show's been on the air for 37? No, how many years did we say it was? Since 1987. Put it that way. I can't count anymore. It's all a blur. But it's hard to imagine. Time has gone by that quickly. A 3-hour show is quite an impressive undertaking, though. So we give you guys a lot of credit for doing that. Thanks very much. Where do you want to go next, Gilles?
Let's go to Alfred Freeland.
Well, Sheldon Harvey said we are currently under attack from the sun, and we often forget that we live on a geologically active planet in an astronomically active solar system, and those kinds of attacks we may not be able to help, but unfortunately, human beings are under attack in many parts of the world by other human beings. And to quote someone, Brooke Gladstone, who has an NPR program that originates at WNYC in New York, where I live, she once ended her On the Media program by saying, "Mankind is bloodied by self-inflicted wounds." And indeed, that's true. I have been attending these meetings even before these meetings started, when they were hosted by Radio Canada International, Ian McFarland was there. Sheldon Harvey was there. I think Sheldon had a lot to do with the handicapped aid program, which I thought was a wonderful aspect of the radio hobby. It's very well suited to people who may have certain handicaps. As far as today's meeting is concerned, as is typical of these meetings, I teach mathematics in the City University of New York, so I'm used to hearing smart people. But I don't usually use an informal expression like this, but I'm blown away by the erudition and the knowledge of the people who speak to us. It's really remarkable, seemingly ordinary people who do extraordinary things. So I'm thrilled to be here and glad to be talking to whoever may be listening to this.
Thanks a lot, Alfred. You've been a regular attendee. We've had a lot of nice chats at Winterfest over the years, so it was great to see you in here today as well.
This is Janice of Dorval. The International Radio Report presents 30 minutes of news, information, and commentary on developments in the world of radio every Sunday morning at 10:30 on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal and online at ckut.ca.
I mentioned that we have an in-person hospitality suite going on as well as our virtual one. And we have one of our technical article contributors to our CIDX Club bulletin, The Messenger, and that is Greg Majewski from Connecticut. How are you doing, Greg?
It is nice to be here in the hospitality room with and seeing all the other people in the virtual hospitality. I think that's the best thing about the Winterfest. As Alan mentioned, you meet a lot of people, all with different capabilities and different ideas and different talents. And it's interesting to meet people who produce shows like Sheldon and Giles, and as well as some of the engineers and the technical. And like today, we had a very nice presentation on emergency communications relative to weather. And that opens up a whole new picture of what you can do with radio. And even if you don't have a ham radio license, amateur radio license, you still could be part of it. It's the information sharing. That's actually what radio has been for years. It was the first real social media, ham radio especially. People would contact each other, either to exchange ideas. In fact, that's how the Amateur Radio League for Hiram Maxim needed a vacuum tube or one or two vacuum tubes, and he actually sent messages out via what equipment he had to get it. So it really is nice about people. Radio is bringing people together.
It certainly has, and it's been doing it with Winterfest for a long, long time, and I think everybody's really good at it too. We can't go without speaking to at least one of the people who we affectionately call the Festmeisters, and I see John Filiazzi is with us, one of two who pull this thing together every year. John, how are you feeling about this year's event?
I think we're feeling good about this year's event. I think it was an experiment, really. I mean, we had gone 3 years without an in-person fest, and we had thought about it last year, and we polled some people, and we found out that a lot of people weren't willing to travel, and I think that the year before that we even tried, and that's when the pandemic kind of raised its ugly head again, and people began getting, unfortunately, sick again. So this year, we decided to do something a little smaller. We tried to put a limit, and we tried to find a venue that was a little more compact. We made the event more compact. We took some things out of it, kept, we think, the best parts, and we decided to try and do a hybrid, as people are seeing. And I think, first of all, my partner in crime, Rich, has done a yeoman job in putting together basically pasting together the technology, along with your help, of course, with the hospitality package here that's going on. And the program, we've had at least one so far that's been done remotely, and I think four that have been done, or four or five, I think. Four, I don't know. But we've done at least four in-house. They've gone well. We've had a few hiccups with the technology, but I think it's doable. I think we're learning a few things that we can improve upon, and maybe equipment that we might need to do, the A job, if you want to put it that way. But I so far, I think we're pleased. I'd like to know. Obviously, we're going to want to know how everybody else feels, but we're kind of pleasantly surprised. Let's put it that way.
Excellent. So there's been a lot of people coming to Winterfest because of COVID in the past, doing it on Zoom. We've sort of fine-tuned that part of the annual event. This, as you said, was a challenge of trying to do the first hybrid event. And as you said, there were a few hiccups, but I think overall, we've been talking to people all day today, and everybody seems very, very pleased. So I think you deserve some congratulations, both of you, for taking on the challenge and pulling it off quite well. It's a challenge to do something brand new like that, I'm sure. And as I said, everybody seems quite happy with the results so far. Everyone's looking forward to another day tomorrow. Lots more events taking place tomorrow. So we'll have a little bit more time here to talk to a couple more people, but do extend our congratulations to your cohort, Richard Cuff, for all the work that he put in as well. It's greatly, greatly appreciated by everyone that's here, I'm sure.
Well, thanks for the kind words, and yes, and one more day. Okay, thanks. Okay.
And I have to say, I'm impressed. I found it fantastic the way you did it.
Yeah, it's been really nice. We've been bouncing back and forth, from one computer to the other, and people on Zoom have been hopping from the forum rooms to the hospitality suite, and popping into the real in-person hospitality suite. So it's a lot of different coordination going on, but it's all coming together quite nicely. So we really do thank you for putting all of that together.
That's cool to hear. Thanks.
Yeah. Gilles, you want to pick another victim to speak to?
How about Bob Crane?
I'd like to say I've been enjoying the fest for almost as long as Tom. I'm senior scum, but that's not an exclusive club nowadays. We're all seniors, but just trying to get up to speed with the new technology and being able to do Zoom. And I'm unique. I'm doing Zoom from the hotel, just so I can keep my finger on the pulse, mostly mine, but also listening to radios and keeping up with space storms and other exciting stuff that's going on.
And where are you from, Bob? Just for our listeners who may not have run into you before.
I'm from Annapolis, Maryland. Been coming to the fest since Culpsville. And enjoying it. It's a new event. We don't have the auction. We don't have the prize giving, but it's a great hotel. It's a nice facility. Pretty amazing. I'm in a room here that has two rooms. In the past hotels, we usually squeezed into one. So all positives. Of course, the Vice Masters are doing a wonderful job.
Well, great to hear. Great to see you again this year. We've run into each other so many years over the history of Winterfest. So good to always catch up with everybody once again.
Sheldon, you snuck a couple radios across the border for me.
Oh, we did that over the years. We're very, I must have an honest face because the border customs people always let us through without any hassles. And all the other guys that were traveling with us in the van were always holding their breath that they were going to tear the van apart. But no, we never had any problems getting through the Canadian U.S. border crossing, and even getting back home, always had success getting through. So no problems there. And we're happy to be able to get some nice equipment down to people, and everybody was so supportive of the Canadians coming down to Winterfest every year. It's a long hike for us from Montreal, a good 8 or 9 hours on the road. So you don't do that unless you really enjoy yourself doing it. So doing it for so many years, it was obvious that it was a place we wanted to be. So that's great. I think we're getting close to the end here of our half hour. We want to thank you for tuning in today. We've got more, as we said, more coming up on the solar activity that's been taking place this weekend. We'll get you updated on that on next week's show. Maybe you have experienced some observations over this weekend that you can share with us. Get in touch with us. Tell us anything you may have observed in the past couple days, and we'll compact that into our report next week as well. Gilles, you want to add any comments of your own about experiencing Winterfest this year?
Well, it's always a pleasure. I've never been in person. It's something I probably would like at some point. The Zoom is fantastic. I mean, we are meeting tons of people. I've seen the faces of people that names were there, but I've never seen before. And it's just fantastic to see all the radio people here. It's great also to see the different events. The presentations are great. There's some cool ones that I'm looking forward to tomorrow a little bit. The one about the scanner radios, the old scanners. Hey, you can still use them. And Skip is also intriguing with his 1975 Party Like It's 1975 presentation about how we've come so far, indeed, in our hobby. So it's just great.
Yep, we're looking forward to tomorrow's events. We'll give you sort of a recap of everything that took place on our show next week. We did want to get this recorded, though, in the midst of Winterfest, episode 37. And we thank again the organizers for pulling everything together. So if you want to get in touch with us, maybe you've been here and you'd like to comment on some things that happened, you can reach, or you're just listening to the show, would like to reach us. Our email address is radioreport@yahoo.com. Our program live streams and is archived at the CKUT FM website, ckut.ca. We do have a Facebook group. We invite you to join. We have well over we're approaching 1,000 members actually in the Facebook group. It's called International Radio Report. We invite you to go check it out. We have our YouTube channel. You can find us at youtube.com/@IRR and subscribe to the channel. You can go and listen to any of our shows, the latest show and previous shows as well, available on the YouTube channel. And finally, we do have an X account at IRRCKUT. You can follow us there. And we do appreciate hearing from any of our listeners out there. So have a great week, everybody. We will talk to you again next week here on CKUT with the International Radio Report. Have a great week, everybody.
Have a great week, and thanks to all that participated today. Bye-bye.
From Quito, Ecuador in South America, this is radio station HCJB, the voice of the Andes. We are broadcasting in 19 and 31 meters in the English language to North America at 15,155 kilohertz and 9,745 kilohertz. The time is 10 p.m. in Quito Eastern Standard Time, or 3 hours Coordinated Universal Time.
This is DX Party Line. This is a program for DXers by DXers and about the DXing hobby. We invite you to stay tuned for the next 30 minutes to the DX Party Line. Monday, time for another Monday edition of the DX Party Line. I'm Clayton Howard, your host, and my wife Helen will be along a little later in the program. And this is rather a difficult or hard, I don't know quite how to describe it, program for us because, as you may realize, some of you I'm sure have heard that we'll be leaving Quito soon. And this is the last time that we'll be hosting a DX Party Line. It's going to be hard for us. We're going to miss